Now, Spencer, one thing you said was the role. And this is so important because all of us have a role that we're trying to fulfill. The type that's determining what type of role we should have is our heart type. And the 2 is going to find a way, if you have 2 in the Tritype, to be needed and valued for what you give. If you have 3 in the Tritype, you're going to try and figure out the role that the family values. And then you're going to want to improve it even more. You want to fulfill the family dream. And then the 4 in the Tritype wants to find the unique and individual way that you can have a role in the world that's more exclusive. Now, the way we figure out how we're going to go about solving things mentally will be the 3 head types. And the 5's going to do it on their own. They're not going to ask anyone. I get a smile on my face when people go on the internet, and I've sent a lot of these questions. I rarely have time to answer them. Will you answer this for so-and-so on Quora or Reddit? And someone will say, I'm a 5, and I don't know if I'm a 549 or a 548. And what do you think? I'll just write this, and then you tell me what you think. Do you think a 5 would ever do that in a million years, even if you only know this much about type 5? No way, no how. The 5 cannot be ignorant or dependent upon others. They must become their own expert, study something totally separate from what anyone else would say. And they're certainly not going to put something on the internet. But what type will? A 6, because you want a lot of opinions. And like sometimes people will get really frustrated with my test. Usually it's 5 stars, but then there'll be these 1 stars or 2 stars if they're generous. But what they will say is, nope, didn't type me correctly, so it's not a good test. And they'll mention, yep, it came out that I was a 6, but then I have this Tritype and they don't match. Well, right in there is a hallmark of what happens with a 6 or a 9. And they miss the part where there are asterisks that will be telling them that. And they'll just think the test doesn't work, but actually the test does work. It's just they don't want to see it. And it's so interesting the way I have to ask people, well, did you receive any asterisks? Which ones did you receive? Now, when they're just evaluating the test, I'm not able to communicate back. But I've decided to put up some of the ways that the types can be frustrated. And 6s are so frustrated that they type differently with different tests. They can take the same test and type differently, different days or the same day. And they think there's a glitch in the test when it doesn't come out the type they want to be, or someone told them that they are. And by working with them individually, I've learned that I'm saying, wait a minute, you just described all these things that are indicative of type 6. Do you disagree with the 6 cards? Are there any words on the 6 card that are not true? And there are 3 different 6 cards. And they say, well, no, I guess I do that. But yeah, I just don't want to be identified with that. Well, I don't do that. I said, but overall, archetypally, are you defending like a 7? Or are you defending more like a 6? Are your fears and concerns more like a 7 or more like a 6? Well, it's like a 6, but I want to be like a 7, or they might want to be like a 9 or a 2 or whatever. And I said, okay, but what made you choose that? If it's true, Why didn't you just take the test like with fresh eyes? And they say, oh, I already know what the types are. I say, you still have to choose. I know what the types are. I created the test. But to test the test, I had to clear my mind and say, okay, Katherine, archetypally, if you have this whole card against this card and this card, which you have to do originally with each type, then what would it be? And there is a problem where I give you 9 versions. Well, I give you 27, 3 different versions of each type, but your first choice card is tested against other first choice cards. Your second choice card is tested against other second choice cards. But there is a point when your first choice cards in one column come up against your second choice cards in the second column. But you may really identify as well with your second choice card. And that's usually because they're in your tritype. But if it's a wing, like a 6 and a 7, then you just have to sort out which defense strategy you use. And if someone says, yeah, I can't tell if I'm a 5 or a 7, there's only one type that can't tell if they're a 5 or a 7. And that's the 6, because they are both. They're the center of the head center. Or if people say, yeah, I can't tell if I'm an 8 or a 1. The type that has that problem is a 9. Someone says, well, I can't tell, I'm going back and forth between 2 and 4. That's a 3. 3, 6, and 9 are all trying to seek balance. And so they're adapting, and they're no longer extreme in their expression. So the 2 is like, I have an abundance. I can help you. And I must be positive. You must see me as positive so that you want to have my advice and come to me. Then I feel secure. Whereas the 4 is, yeah, I don't want to give you a bunch of advice, and I don't want you coming to me with everything. But if you want to talk about deep, tragic experiences and aesthetic elements that the 4 values, and like one 4 might be an art critic, another 4 it might be a food critic, but it'll be a critic of some type, then they're very different, because one's coming from the, can you believe how pedantic that is? That's more 4. A 2's not going to say that. Say, well, they have a place too, and they're going to come from the positive. Now, I'm not saying there aren't 2s that aren't art critics or food critics. I'm just saying overall, the 2 is upbeat. The 7 is upbeat. The 4 and the 6 are downbeats. So that's why 2 and 7 are misidentifying, and 4 and 6 can misidentify as the other. But actually, another important point is a whole chunk of type 2, the libertine part of 2, especially the wild card 2, that seems kind of 8-ish and 7-ish. They always think they're 7s with an 8 wing. But it's because that part of 2 was put into 7. And how can you tell the difference? Because the 2 is trying to make this emotional connection with you. And the 7 is just trying to share interesting, fun ideas. Occasionally they'll go into the depth of something, but boy, they don't want to stay there. And they sure don't want to stay in their negative emotions. Whereas other types can. And how repetitive is the issue, the emotional issue. So the 3, 6, and 9 are the primary types, and they will identify more with their wing types than their actual type. So that, just get that out there. A lot of people don't realize it.
I really agree. I say to my clients and also just to myself, the 3, 6, 9s are like the shapeshifter numbers, because they can really, for different reasons, really connect to other numbers, especially because they are in themselves motivated to not identify as self. There's a motivation to connect or second guess or imitate others. And then I just cracked a joke about a client that I just got that texted me saying that test was like the hardest thing ever, and they were a 936. And I was like, yeah, I bet it was. I bet that was your nightmare. I'm really, really sorry. But thank you so much for putting the work in. And the only other thing I'd want to add is something I thought of earlier. For any of you eights out there that are really struggling with connecting to your vulnerability, I came up with an 8 definition that really, really helped me. Choosing to be vulnerable is your way of saying to both yourself and whoever you're engaging with that, yeah, I can open the armor and whatever you throw my way, I'll be able to handle. I'll be okay. It might suck for a little bit. It might hurt. All those things are true, but it's not going to take me out of the game. Me fearing vulnerability is almost telling myself, I won't survive this. So when I connected to my 8 strength and wanting to feel powerful and wanting to feel like, nah, I got this, I changed that definition. And it's almost like I'm running towards the burning building of vulnerability now. When I'm in a conflict, I just go vulnerable. Earlier in today's thing, I talked about the freaking dumb room that I was in, right? That was me being vulnerable, but I was like, nah, it's all good. Like, I'm helping people. It's clarifying this, that, or the other. And now there's just a lot of power in it. It's all about just the switching and the relabeling. And I wanted to bring that up earlier, but there wasn't like a perfect moment. So
that's perfect, Spencer, because surviving is what all the types are doing.
Mhm.
Because unconsciously, the defense strategy says you will die if you do this.
Right.
And the 8 needs to have the credibility, the reputation. And each type, there's a way in which you need to hold that identity and not show the weakness of your type, because then you will, in the case of the 8, be disempowered. In case of the 1, be wrong. In case of the 2, be unwanted. In the case of the 3, be unuseful. In the case of the 4, unoriginal. In the case of the 5, vulnerable and easily overpowered. In the case of the 6, not knowing what to do, and people respecting you as and your information because you've shown an insecurity. And the 7, that you will be uncool. And the 8, disempowered. And the 9, a problem. You have to go along to get along to not be a problem. So I could just go on and on and on and on,